You ever wish your code would just, work without all the late night bug hunts or those dreaded runtime crashes that just ruin your day? Well, today we're going to dive into Elm. It's a programming language that was built from the ground up to create really reliable and, honestly, delightful web applications. Let's see how it tackles some of the biggest headaches in development. Okay, first, let's set the scene with a feeling I'm sure you know all too well. You build a web app. It's working. Everything's great. But then, as you add more features, as you revise it, things start to get a little fragile, right? Bugs pop up in the weirdest places, and suddenly maintenance is this slow, frustrating process of chasing ghosts in the machine. It's such a common story, and for a lot of us, it's a genuine developer nightmare. And look, this isn't just some abstract idea. Richard Feldman, the author of Elm in Action, he lived this. He had this exact problem with his own app, Dreamwriter. This quote just nails that feeling, doesn't it? That awful cycle of fixing one thing only to break something else, and watching your passion project turn into a total chore. And then there's this. Oh man, the infamous JavaScript error message. This thing has haunted countless developers and crashed who knows how many applications. But here's the thing. It's not just an error. It's a symptom of a much bigger problem, runtime exceptions. These are the errors your users see, the ones that break the whole experience and just kill trust. Elm is specifically designed to make this entire class of errors a thing of the past. So, how in the world does Elm do it? Well, its secret weapon is the compiler. But you gotta stop thinking of a compiler as this strict gatekeeper that just yells no at you. Instead, think of it as a friendly, helpful assistant. Seriously, its entire job is to partner with you, to catch your mistakes, and to gently guide you toward writing rock-solid, reliable code before it ever gets near a user's browser. So this assistant makes some pretty incredible promises. First and foremost, and this is the big one, practically zero runtime exceptions. That alone is a total game changer. Then it gives you these famously helpful error messages that actually guide you to the fix. This all leads to a refactoring experience that people actually describe as delightful. You can make huge changes with total confidence. And the best part, it all compiles down to plain old JavaScript that any browser can run. And here is where you can really see the difference in the experience. On the left, you've got this cryptic error that just blows up the application for your user. It's a crisis. But on the right, you have the Elm compiler. It gives you this clear, friendly message when you're still coding, telling you exactly what's wrong and often exactly how to fix it. It totally shifts the experience from a panic-inducing crisis to just a simple guided correction. And hey, it's not just Elm fans who think this is amazing. When a programming legend like John Carmack, the guy behind Doom and Quake, saw an Elm error message, this was his reaction. That's some serious praise, and it really shows you just how transformative a truly helpful compiler can be. So how does Elm actually deliver on all these promises? Well, it starts with a pretty fundamental shift in how you think about code. In Elm, you're not writing a list of commands or statements. Instead, you build your entire program out of something called expressions. So what's an expression? It's actually super simple. It's just anything that boils down to a single value. The number 42? That's an expression. The string hello? Also an expression. And as we're about to see, pretty much everything you write in Elm follows this simple, really powerful rule. Here's a basic expression in action. We're just combining two strings. Now notice the plus plus operator. In Elm, that's how you append strings. The plus operator, that's only for adding numbers. It's a little thing, but it's a perfect example of how Elm prefers to be super explicit to help you avoid common bugs. Now, this is a big one. Even conditional logic like an if block is an expression. See, this code isn't a statement that does something. It's an expression that evaluates to a single value. It's either going to become the string elf or the string elfs. This is a core difference from languages like JavaScript, and it makes the flow of data through your app incredibly predictable and easy to follow. All right, so that's expressions. The next big piece of the Elm puzzle is its super consistent use of functions. In a lot of languages, you've got this mix of functions, methods, properties. It can get messy. In Elm, nope, you just have functions. And that makes all your logic really clean and predictable. This table shows the difference perfectly. In JavaScript, the logic is often attached to the data itself, right? Like the toUpperCase method that lives on a string. But in Elm, the logic lives in modules. You pass the data to a function, like string.toUpper. It's a subtle shift, but it makes your code so much easier to understand, to reason about, and especially to test. Elm also makes amazing use of something called higher order functions. No, don't let the fancy name scare you. It's just a way of saying you have a function that can take another function as one of its arguments. For instance, string.filter lets you pass in your own custom logic to decide which characters to keep in a string. It's an unbelievably powerful way to build flexible, reusable code.
Okay, so theory is great. We've talked about expressions and functions, but how do these simple building blocks actually come together to create a real interactive web application? Let's take a look.
And this is where it all just clicks into place. On the left, you've got some Elm code, and you don't even need to be able to read it. What's important is what it's doing. It's simply describing the user interface. It's like a recipe, a list of ingredients, a div, some headers, a few images. It is not a set of step-by-step commands. And Elm takes that simple description and, as you can see on the right, it reliably translates it into an efficient, working web page every single time. So at the end of the day, by focusing on these really simple, predictable building blocks, things like expressions and functions, and by leaning on that powerful, helpful compiler, Elm just gives you the tools to build applications that aren't just reliable, but are a genuine pleasure to write and to maintain. So I'll just leave you with this thought. Imagine working on a big, complex project. You're making huge changes, refactoring everything, but you have complete confidence that this helpful assistant is right there with you, catching every little mistake before it can ever cause a problem. That's the promise of Elm. What could you build if you had that kind of confidence?